Hello, and welcome to this episode of Tech Juice. I will be doing a three-part series on redefining leadership in the age of artificial intelligence. Welcome to part one, where I will discuss the state of play in the AI industry, which as of today. As I said, I'll cover my talk in three parts. In the first, I will give a flavor of the state of play in AI. In the second, I will give my thoughts on how AI will force us to redefine leadership. In the third, I will make a call for action, for making the right choices in the new age of AI. A flavor of the present state of play in AI. Let's look at some good use cases. AI is not just a new computer technology, but something like the discovery of electricity. It will change everything and is transformative. We can now have collaborative robots building a bespoke product or defining an airspace. Vaccine discovery models that can shorten vaccine development cycles to weeks. Medical image scanners that can assist medical professionals to scan through millions of images with great efficiency. Development of materials that can absorb carbon dioxide, or for that matter, hydrogen, from the atmosphere and enable developmental goals. Software to teach a growing population suffering a teacher shortage, and to help farmers build climate resilience in their annual crop patterns, etc., etc., etc. The list just goes on. Bad use cases. Of course, AI can be used to spread as well as identify fake news, cause a cyber attack, as well as work out an immediate defense for a cyber attack. AI can be used to manipulate democracies through public opinion, turn on corporations or people against their governments, and distract entire populations from real issues. Being in the AI race is an existential requirement for a nation. And it is no wonder that there is so much investment in AI infrastructure. Let's look at the US led Western model. The US model is to use big tech to gobble up successful AI startups working in superintelligence in US and Europe. Invest trillions on large data centers with exceptional compute capabilities, embed the technology in military products, and commercialize the technology on social media and shopping platforms. The aim is to convert the rest of the world into AI dependence on US platforms. Sam Altman in the Silicon Valley built OpenAI with the altruistic motive to build the wealth of humanity by democratizing AI. Demis Hassabis built a superintelligent startup called DeepMind with a mission to solve intelligence and then use intelligence to solve everything else. His Nobel Prize winning work solved a 50-year grand challenge in science, which was to predict the 3D structure of a protein from its 1D amino acid sequence. This model has greatly enhanced our ability to discover new drugs and understanding intractable human diseases. Both these visionaries needed large sums of money to set up their computes and initially used high-profile tech entrepreneurs. As they became successful, big tech simply waylaid them and gobbled them up. By 2023, OpenAI was acquired by Microsoft, DeepMind was acquired by Google. Both these founders are famous for their public utterances now on the dangers of use of superintelligent AI. It's my view that they are just inoculating themselves from future criticism as they just trudged on with big tech and commercialized most of what they developed. Europe has been strong in research and regulation. It is indeed a beacon of hope for managing the impact of AI for the rest of the world. However, AI funding in Europe leaves much to be desired. Political play. I think the most telling picture of 2024 is the presence of big tech in the inauguration of President Trump. President Trump has said that he will veto anything that tries to regulate big tech, as it will supposedly slow down the USA in their arms race with China. I'm sure he's eyeing the election donations like any other politician. However, big tech in USA is so powerful that it really doesn't matter who wins the next elections there. Bots that eliminate fake news and hate speeches may be the savior for democracies, but could also be a nightmare when applied using present political playbooks. No wonder political organizations are cozying up to big tech to refine their playbooks based on the state of play of these technologies. It also doesn't need a great stretch of imagination to understand the partnership between big tech and big military industries. AI and military hardware can be a deadly combination, with extensive levels of automation removing the dependence of manpower for warfighting. Agentic AI has already given the power to kill by certain dodgy players like Turkey, although with questionable results and with unknown guardrails. Big tech's diversionary lobbies. Theoretically, if we train a super intelligent robot to build as many paper clips as possible, that robot will outsmart everything and everyone and start converting all resources of the planet, including us, into paper clips due to its training. The big AI lobbyists have successfully convinced big governments that unchecked AI will paperclip humans and steamroll human civilizations like anthills in the way of a bulldozer, focused on its trained objectives. Billions of dollars of research has since been funneled into ensuring that super AI development is kept under check. This has been a smart move by the big tech companies as the entire focus is on the so-called existential crisis, while the short-term risks actually reside in AI tools, which determine that a face belongs to a terrorist and that a person is unfit for a mortgage, that a prisoner is to be jailed for life, or that a mine should explode or not based on what's passing over it, if it's a school bus or an enemy tank, whether some CV should get its job, etc., etc. They are quietly building hyperscale data centers on existing power grids across the world and are subtly telling governments that AI is unstoppable. Public rumblings on the stability of electricity grids and rising electricity costs have started. Meanwhile, multiple AI bots have been developed that, for example, crawl shopping sites like Amazon and generate aggregated shopping lists. This can deeply affect the pockets of Amazon, whose leadership's dithered back and forth by blocking data access to these bots. I think now they're finally partnering with these companies that make these bots. It is expected by 2030, at least 30% of all shoppers would use these bots and not just use a particular e-retailer's site. I think even the best are struggling to understand the impacts of AI. China's AI. China, too, is now a world leader in AI and automation. They predict that their population will halve and dramatically age by the end of the century. They have gone the whole hog in automation with robots, self-driving cars, drone deliveries, robotic companions, digital pets, etc., etc. China is today a nerd's delight and is doing everything that the US is doing and more due to their extreme paranoia for their digital sovereignty. With super intelligence, they did their own thing by putting out at least 7 large language models, of which one of them grabbed a lot of attention. DeepSeek created an LLM at a fraction of the cost of the US LLMs, with their ability to scale parameters geometrically without the need for a geometrical increase in computing power. The enthusiasm for this release, however, turned a bit damp, as it emerged that the model was pre-trained to say only nice things about the Chinese Communist Party. Clearly, it was a tool for the local audience and was not targeting international audiences, although it was open source for the gullible. These models are now being used to insulate the Chinese population from US-trained LLMs, which are not pre-biased and have universal application. However, their ability to develop such good tech also bolsters their ability to increase military automation and reduce dependence on manpower for war fighting. In a prolonged war, it is AI-enabled weapons that will hold sway after conventional capability exhausts itself in 10 to 15 days of intensive war. With Pakistan using Turkish capabilities in AI, a two-front war for us can be a disaster beyond imagination within the next decade. India's hybrid model. India has adopted a hybrid model when compared to state directed models of China and the private sector frontier models of the United States. The state supervised Indian model promises AI as public infrastructure with digital sovereignty, multi language inclusivity, population scale deployment, and most importantly, the so called ethical AI. Building public trust and emphasizing stewardship over unchecked autonomy are its goals. These policies suggest limited understanding that this is not just another technology. AI will disrupt and transform like electricity did. If our AI leadership does not lead the way, reality will shock us into changing. We need strong startups. We already have quite a bit of big tech. The government will need to encourage startups and then let the market forces take the lead. Regulations before the energy of our AI ecosystem picks up is a recipe for disaster. Google is already coming for India's data by investing in a mega data center in Andhra Pradesh. AI research in India is growing fast. Industrial AI applications are emerging. A moderate growth is seen in consumer AI platforms. AI regulation is developing. Deployment at population scale is a very strong aspect of Indian capabilities. And with a very high emphasis on AI sovereignty without the necessary energy in the ecosystem, our AI will dither. The AI ecosystem in India is unfortunately fragmented. AI adoption for military has been limited. The vacuum cleaner in my home has more AI than the Rafale aircraft. Government investment is very low at just $1.24 billion for the national AI mission. We need more ambition as AI slavery will greatly dent comprehensive national power. AI will come whether we lead or not. Therefore, leadership is the key to any nation's sovereignty, and we have no choice but to manage this transformation. There are three distinct, often cited, and plausible future scenarios for artificial intelligence. They are the Star Trek option, which is the utopian abundance, Elysium, which is extreme inequality, and Mad Max, which is chaotic conflict. The Star Trek future is an optimistic scenario where AI technology is developed and shared for common good. This will lead to an era of significant discovery and abundance. AI will be used to solve fundamental human challenges, such as curing diseases, reversing climate change, and providing unlimited energy. AI will act as a tool for liberation, allowing humans to work less, example, a 2-day work week, while enjoying a higher standard of living, potentially supported by a GI Bill for AI age. Rather than replacing humans, AI will enhance human creativity, memory, and social lives. In the Elysium future, large AI labs and tech giants will amass unprecedented power, control, and resources. A small trillionaire class will emerge, while the majority of humanity will face limited resources and subordination. AI will become highly capable, leading to widespread job displacement and a shift towards precarious gig work for many. AI will be used to monitor workers and enforce productivity, while corporate totalitarianism may arise as companies gain more power than even some nations. The Mad Max scenario is even worse. It envisions an AI arms race that turns into an AI war, where competition between nations escalates to kinetic or even nuclear conflict. Uncontrolled open source diffusion leads to a chaotic world where smaller gangs, tribes, or individuals wield powerful AI, causing widespread instability. AI may enable unstoppable cybercrime, with deep fakes making it impossible to distinguish truth from falsehood, eroding societal trust. Global systems will fail, resulting in a fractured, fragmented civilization where only fortified enclaves maintain order. Which future would we choose? Experts warn that the world is currently trending towards the more negative scenarios, which is Elysium and Mad Max. Choosing the Star Trek future requires active, intentional, and collaborative efforts to share technology and establish ethical global governance. In the following episodes, we will focus on how the optimistic possibility can also be given a chance by human leadership being rewired. Thank you for watching, and see you in the